What if there was a place on Earth where ships vanish without a trace, where planes disappear from radar screens mid-flight, and where the laws of physics themselves seem to break down? A place so dangerous that some believe it shouldn't be crossed at all. For decades, this region of the Atlantic Ocean has been called the Devil's Triangle, the limbo of the lost, and most famously, the Bermuda Triangle. The area covers roughly 500,000 square miles of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, one of the busiest shipping and flight routes in the world. And according to countless books, documentaries, and news reports, over 1,000 people have disappeared here under mysterious circumstances. Ships found abandoned with meals still on the table, aircraft that radioed for help, then vanished, compasses spinning wildly, electronic equipment failing without explanation. But here's the question nobody asks. If the Bermuda Triangle is so deadly, why do thousands of ships and planes cross it safely every single day? Why don't insurance companies charge higher premiums for vessels entering this supposedly cursed zone? And most importantly, is the Bermuda Triangle actually dangerous? Or is it the greatest geographical myth of the modern era? Today, we're diving deep into one of the world's most enduring mysteries to separate fact from fiction, science from sensationalism, and truth from decades of manipulation. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle is built on real disappearances, and the most famous of these occurred on December 5th, 1945. It's the case that launched 1,000 conspiracy theories, the disappearance of Flight 19. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers took off from Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station in Florida on a routine training mission. 14 men were aboard, 13 crew members, and 1 instructor, Lieutenant Charles Taylor. The mission was supposed to last 2 hours. They never returned. According to radio transmissions, Lieutenant Taylor reported that his compasses weren't working. He believed they were over the Florida Keys, when in reality, they were somewhere over the Bahamas. Confused about their location and running low on fuel, the squadron apparently flew northeast, directly into the open Atlantic, instead of west toward land. Search planes were immediately dispatched. One of them, a Martin Mariner flying boat with 13 crew members, also disappeared. 27 men lost in a single day. No wreckage was ever officially recovered, though some researchers believe debris found decades later may have belonged to the Mariner. But Flight 19 wasn't the first or the largest disappearance. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy cargo ship carrying 306 people and 10,000 tons of manganese ore, vanished without sending a distress signal. The Cyclops was one of the Navy's largest fuel ships, over 500 feet long. It departed from Barbados, heading for Baltimore. It never arrived. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the ship or its crew was ever found. To this day, it remains the single largest loss of life in U.S. naval history not directly involving combat. And it happened right in the heart of what would later be called the Bermuda Triangle. These are just 2 of many reported disappearances. The Carroll A. Deering, a 5-masted schooner found run aground in 1921 with its entire crew missing. The disappearance of the Douglas DC-3 in 1948 with 32 passengers and crew. The vanishing of the tanker SS Marine Sulphur Queen in 1963 with 39 men aboard. As these cases accumulated over decades, people began to notice a pattern. The incidents all occurred in the same general area, and often they happened under clear skies in calm seas, without distress signals or explanations. Something, many concluded, was terribly wrong with this stretch of ocean. When conventional explanations fail, unconventional theories emerge. And the Bermuda Triangle has inspired some of the most creative, bizarre, and fascinating theories in modern folklore. Some believe the sunken city of Atlantis lies beneath these waters, and that ancient Atlantean technology, specifically powerful energy crystals, still functions on the ocean floor, interfering with modern navigation equipment and pulling vessels to their doom. Others point to UFO sightings in the region and suggest that extraterrestrials are abducting ships and planes for study, or that an underwater alien base exists in the Puerto Rico Trench, the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean in this region. Then there are theories about time portals and dimensional rifts. The idea that the Bermuda Triangle is a doorway to another dimension or time period, and that missing vessels haven't been destroyed but transported elsewhere. A more scientifically grounded but still controversial theory suggests massive methane gas eruptions from the ocean floor. According to this hypothesis, enormous bubbles of methane could theoretically reduce the water's density so dramatically that ships lose buoyancy and sink instantly. The gas could also theoretically interfere with aircraft engines. Some pilots and sailors have reported encountering strange electronic fog, a thick, luminous mist that surrounds their vessels and causes all electronic equipment to malfunction. Compasses supposedly spin wildly, radio contact is lost, and time itself seems to distort. Magnetic anomalies are frequently cited. The claim is that the Bermuda Triangle is one of the few places on Earth where true north and magnetic north align, causing compass confusion. Others suggest an unknown magnetic field that interferes with all navigation equipment. These theories have one thing in common. They're compelling, they're dramatic, and they sell books and documentaries. But do any of them hold up to scientific scrutiny? When scientists examine the Bermuda Triangle, they don't find a mysterious anomaly. They find something far more mundane, but equally powerful: perfect conditions for maritime disasters. The Bermuda Triangle sits in one of the most weather-volatile regions on Earth. The area is prone to sudden, violent storms that can develop within minutes. Waterspouts, tornadoes over water, are common. This region is in the direct path of numerous hurricanes each year, and tropical weather systems can create massive waves that appear without warning. Rogue waves, sometimes called freak waves, have been documented reaching heights of over 100 feet. These walls of water can appear suddenly, even in relatively calm seas, and are capable of sinking large vessels in seconds. For decades, rogue waves were considered sailor myths. Now, satellite data confirms they're real and relatively common in certain ocean conditions. The Gulf Stream, one of the world's most powerful ocean currents, flows directly through the Bermuda Triangle at speeds up to 4 miles per hour. This current is strong enough to quickly carry wreckage far from an incident site, making search and recovery extremely difficult. A ship could sink in one location, and by the time searchers arrive, all debris could be miles away. The ocean floor in this region is incredibly varied and includes some of the deepest points in the Atlantic. The Puerto Rico Trench drops to nearly 28,000 feet, over 5 miles deep. Wreckage that sinks into these depths may never be found with current technology. Navigation in this region has always been challenging. The area contains numerous shoals, reefs, and islands. Before modern GPS, navigating here required precise celestial navigation and dead reckoning, both susceptible to human error, especially in poor visibility or stressful conditions. Let's return to Flight 19. Modern analysis of the radio transcripts reveals that Lieutenant Taylor was likely disoriented, possibly due to flying in previous missions over the Florida Keys and the Bahamas. He apparently mistook the Bahamas for the Keys. Instead of flying west to Florida, he led his squadron northeast into the open Atlantic. Running out of fuel over the ocean at night, in deteriorating weather, is not mysterious. It's tragically understandable. The USS Cyclops likely suffered a structural failure. The ship was carrying an extremely heavy cargo of manganese ore, possibly overloaded. Ships of that design were known to have structural weaknesses. In rough seas, the hull could have cracked, causing rapid flooding and sinking. In deep water, without time to send a distress signal, the ship and all evidence simply disappeared into the abyss. Here's perhaps the most important fact. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the most heavily traveled shipping and flight routes in the world. Thousands of vessels cross this region every week. When you account for the sheer volume of traffic, the number of incidents in the Bermuda Triangle is not statistically higher than any other comparable region of ocean. In fact, other areas, like the North Atlantic shipping lanes, the Strait of Malacca, or the waters around Japan, have comparable or higher incident rates, but they don't have ominous names or best-selling books written about them. So, if science provides perfectly reasonable explanations, why does the legend of the Bermuda Triangle persist? The answer lies in one of the most successful media manipulations of the 20th century. The term Bermuda Triangle didn't exist until 1964, when Vincent Gaddis used it in a magazine article. Before that, disappearances in this region were treated as unfortunate but unremarkable maritime incidents. But Gaddis connected disparate events across decades, drew a triangle on a map, and created a pattern where none existed. Then came Charles Berlitz. In 1974, he published The Bermuda Triangle, a book that would sell over 20 million copies and cement the legend in popular culture. Berlitz presented the triangle as an undeniable mystery, filled with unexplained disappearances and supernatural phenomena. There was just one problem. Many of the incidents Berlitz described were heavily embellished, misrepresented, or outright fabricated. Researcher Larry Kuscher spent years fact-checking Berlitz's claims for his 1975 book, The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved. What he found was disturbing. Ships that supposedly vanished in calm seas had actually disappeared during documented storms. Aircraft that allegedly vanished without a trace had sent distress signals that were ignored in Berlitz's account. Incidents that occurred hundreds of miles outside the triangle were claimed as triangle disappearances. And some vessels that supposedly disappeared had actually been found, their wrecks located and identified. Newspapers of the early to mid-20th century loved sensational headlines. "Ship vanishes in Devil's Triangle" sold more papers than "Cargo vessel likely sank in storm." Each retelling of these stories added new dramatic elements, removed inconvenient facts, and amplified the mystery. Hollywood embraced the triangle. Dozens of films, TV shows, and documentaries portrayed it as a genuine, supernatural danger zone. Each depiction reinforced the legend in public consciousness, creating a feedback loop where the triangle's reputation became a self-fulfilling prophecy. The internet age has only amplified this. Every new incident anywhere near the Atlantic is immediately connected to the triangle by conspiracy theorists and content creators seeking views. Context is ignored. Scientific explanations are dismissed as cover-ups. The truth is simple. The Bermuda Triangle legend has been incredibly profitable. It has generated billions of dollars in book sales, movie tickets, documentaries, and tourism. And when something is that profitable, there's little incentive to correct the record. So what do the actual authorities say about the Bermuda Triangle? The organizations responsible for maritime safety have been remarkably clear and consistent. The United States Coast Guard states, in a review of many aircraft and vessel losses in the area over the years, there has been nothing discovered that would indicate that casualties were the result of anything other than physical causes. No extraordinary factors have ever been identified. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is even more direct. There is no evidence that mysterious disappearances occur with any greater frequency in the Bermuda Triangle than in any other large, well-traveled area of the ocean. Every single day, hundreds of ships and aircraft cross the Bermuda Triangle without incident. Modern cruise ships carry thousands of passengers through this region on regular schedules. Commercial aircraft fly over it constantly. If the area were genuinely dangerous or anomalous, this traffic would be impossible. Perhaps the most telling evidence comes from maritime insurance companies. These companies base premiums on statistical risk. If the Bermuda Triangle were actually dangerous, insurance rates for vessels crossing it would be substantially higher. They're not. Insurance companies have examined the data and found no increased risk. Modern technology has also solved some historical mysteries. Advanced sonar and underwater robotics have located wreckage from several mysterious disappearances. In many cases, the wrecks show clear evidence of structural failure, storm damage, or human error. Exactly what investigators suspected decades ago. Wreckage believed to belong to Flight 19 has been found off the coast of Florida, exactly where searchers predicted the planes would have crashed after running out of fuel. Multiple theories about the USS Cyclops, all based on structural engineering and cargo analysis, provide perfectly rational explanations for its loss. When researchers compare incident rates across all major shipping lanes worldwide, the Bermuda Triangle doesn't stand out. The Mediterranean, the North Sea, the waters around Indonesia and the Philippines all have comparable or higher rates of maritime incidents when adjusted for traffic volume. The Bermuda Triangle is exactly what it appears to be, a heavily traveled section of ocean with challenging weather, strong currents, and a history that's been systematically distorted for profit and entertainment. There is no mystery. There never was. There's only the timeless danger of the sea, human fallibility, the power of nature, and our endless appetite for stories that make the world seem more magical and mysterious than it actually is. So why does the Bermuda Triangle legend endure despite overwhelming evidence against it? Perhaps because we want it to be true. In an age where satellites map every inch of Earth, where science explains phenomena our ancestors considered magical, and where mystery seems in short supply, the Bermuda Triangle offers something increasingly rare: the possibility of the unknown. It represents our desire for the world to contain more than what we can measure and explain. It speaks to our fascination with unsolved mysteries and our suspicion that reality might be stranger than we're told. But there's a cost to preferring myth over truth. Real maritime dangers, inadequate safety equipment, insufficient training, cost-cutting measures by shipping companies, the genuine threat of extreme weather. These get ignored when we focus on imaginary supernatural forces. The real story of the Bermuda Triangle isn't about disappearances. It's about how technology, better weather forecasting, improved ship design, and modern navigation have made ocean travel safer than ever. It's about how understanding the genuine dangers of the sea, not inventing fictional ones, saves lives. The ocean doesn't need to be supernatural to be dangerous. It doesn't need to harbor ancient Atlantean crystals or alien bases to command our respect. The sea, in its natural state, with its storms and currents and depths, is powerful enough. The Bermuda Triangle is not cursed. It's not a portal. It's not a graveyard of ships beyond statistical norms. It's simply ocean. Beautiful, powerful, dangerous when not respected, and crossed safely by thousands every day who understand what they're dealing with. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is not what happened to those ships and planes. The mystery is why we needed to invent supernatural explanations for events that science explained decades ago. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the Bermuda Triangle. If you enjoyed this journey from myth to reality, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our investigations into the world's greatest mysteries and the truth behind them. What's your take? Do you think there's still unexplained phenomena in the Bermuda Triangle, or has science adequately explained everything? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe in the Triangle's mysteries, tell us why. We'd genuinely love to hear your perspective. For more myth-busting content, check out our videos on Area 51, the Loch Ness Monster, or ancient alien theories. We bring evidence, research, and critical thinking to the stories everyone thinks they know. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, reality is usually more interesting than the myth.